Hey guys, what's up? It's Kahoob here. So today I have an interview for you guys with me and Satoshi Aoki. His channel you guys can check out in the description. So he does a lot on like Swipe and crypto.com and other things. I'll actually let him explain it. I'm just kind of doing my intro to let you guys know what's going on. And hopefully you guys enjoy this interview. He has some great content. And this interview goes into a lot of depth with crypto.com. It's kind of an interview, but kind of like more like a discussion. Just him and I talking about topics on crypto.com and everything they've been doing lately. Debit cards, the CRO migration, the DeFi wallet, on-chain staking, crypto.com NFTs, and just a bunch of things like that. So I think you guys will really enjoy this discussion interview, I guess kind of like podcast. Right, so before we get started, what's your YouTube channel about?
Cheers, Kahoob. Yeah, so my channel is, I started my channel talking about sort of the crypto debit card space in particular, and more specifically crypto.com, just simply because that was, probably one of the things I felt more confident about talking about straight off the bat. So I guess evolving from that, it was just a lot about crypto debit card space. I then went on to talking a lot about Swipe. I'm quite interested in sort of the DeFi space in regards to sort of yield farming. NFTs I think are quite interesting as well. And on top of that as well, I talk, a bit of general Bitcoin news and things like that. But I would say it's mainly based around NFTs, DeFi, crypto debit card space, and I talk a little bit about Bitscap automated trading bot as well. So yeah, they're sort of my primary areas of focus at the moment, mate.
Yeah, so I actually found out about your channel because I was really also into crypto debit cards and stuff with Swipe and crypto.com, and I always wanted to watch other people like talk about it and just like their opinions and stuff. So I would like just look up crypto.com debit cards, and I think that's how I found your channel. And I think I started watching when you were at like 500 or 700 subscribers. And so
Yeah.
now you're like at almost like 3,000 or like a bit over that. So it's pretty
Just
crazy.
a little behind you.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So for the first thing I wanted to discuss is about the crypto debit cards that are tied to fiat for US dollars, $0, $400, 4,000, 40,000, 400,000 in that order for the tier of the cards. So
Okay.
do you think them tying it to fiat and having like a stable value for each card tier, like do you think that's good or bad in any way, or like what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think it's not a case of it being just good or just bad. I think there's going to be pros and cons for this approach or the decision that I've made. If I have to sort of say overall whether it's good or bad, I do think it's a good thing, and I suppose I have thought about this quite a bit. Basically, I suppose if crypto.com as an audience are looking towards, I guess, more mainstream adoption. I think that whilst their platform or their app, if you like, is quite complex in what it has. I think once you take the time and have a bit of time to sort of learn and understand all the different features on the app, even for a complete beginner, I think it can become sort of, I guess, quite digestible. So, and I think what was the user base last year was 5 million.
Yeah.
We've already hit like 20 million user base of crypto.com, right? And I think from what I'm seeing from crypto.com is that they are trying to target all these sort of new investors, new people coming into the space. So I guess and I think you'll probably agree as well, I see crypto.com is as one of the easiest on ramps for people that just don't know anything about cryptocurrency.
Oh, yeah.
So if I've got a friend who knows nothing about crypto and just wants to buy a bit of Bitcoin for the first time, and they say, what's the best app, how do I get started? I try not to overcomplicate it for them. I just say, look, just jump on crypto.com. And because it's going to have all the features. You've got an earn section there, and you can potentially look at getting a card. And I think for people like that, coming back to the question, having sort of what they had before originally with the CRO amount, I would always get questions as an influencer. It's like, okay, so if there's a CRO amount here to get this card, but what does that actually mean? And it would always, evolve into like an unnecessary discussion of trying to, no, I wouldn't say unnecessary discussion, but unnecessary for perhaps an absolute beginner. It's maybe a discussion that can come later on, but I think now with it being changed from a amount of CRO to a US dollar value or fiat value, I think it's just a lot more simple for their primary target audience, I believe, just to come on and easily get a card rather than having to worry about what does it mean, X amount of CRO. Because I think perhaps a lot of people may come on, see that, not understand, and that I think could potentially for a lot of people be the tipping point in maybe not getting the card. So I think it's for crypto.com. They've thought to themselves, okay, how do we get more people in as simply as possible? Let's change the CRO amount to a fixed fiat amount. So I think overall it's a good thing, for sure, I would say.
Yeah, one of the things that I always said about it, since they've changed it, it kind of like, in a sense, allows you to save in CRO, like to be able to upgrade to the next card. And that kind of allows people to, buy more into CRO while it's like at a lower price or some point to be able to upgrade when it does rise. Because like before, when it was the amount of CRO, even if you had like, let's say for me, like the ICY, it was 100,000 CRO. Even if CRO went up in price, I still wouldn't have been able to get the Obsidian with the way they had it beforehand.
Yeah,
So
of course.
now
that
it's
makes
like,
a lot of sense.
yeah, so it like allows people to save in CRO, which I think is pretty good. And another thing is if your CRO isn't locked anymore, then you're also able to like upgrade your cards, like I was just saying, instead of selling like some people would prefer, like for example, if my ICY is 100,000 CRO, it goes up a certain amount, I may be likely to sell it because I can't upgrade to Obsidian because that one's now equally out of reach as it always has been. And compared to now, you're able to upgrade. So it's like, well, actually, instead of selling it all for profit, maybe I'll stake for the Obsidian, and it kind of like keeps it locked for even longer and more, lets the value grow more easier. Although the bad that some people will say is like, because it now allows people to take profits every 6 months if like CRO goes up in value from when they first bought, and then they'll just restake the minimum amount. So some people say, well, we might higher the sell pressure, but I think it kind of evens out with the like being able to upgrade your card as well. So I think it kind of works both ways.
Yeah, no, you make a really good point. I agree with all of that, actually, 100%. And I guess, that's a major sort of consideration. And as you said, I think Karina and I, we're having this discussion as well about sort of being able to unstake and sort of take profits if you want to do that as well. But I also think, it's just a nice incentive to be able to do that as well. And, people might say, yes, that may create selling pressure, but, at the end of the day, I think what's most important is just offering a good, genuine service to the customer. Because it's that good customer experience that is going to keep them loyal to the company and spend more time on the app. Sort of using the card and using sort of the new services and features that do, I suppose, come out. So, I agree with you.
Because, exactly. That could also just mean that maybe someone wouldn't stake for a card in the first place if they weren't able to, take profits in that way. So, I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
So now onto the CRO migration from ERC20 to the mainnet launch. So like bullish news and everything just because of how high the Ethereum fees are right now.
Massively.
Yeah. And
ridiculous.
One thing was that slow transactions were happening for the migration, which was like it was actually announced on their like maintenance website and their status page. And it was like a bit delayed to add the CRO chain as an option to choose ERC20 or CRO. So like I remember when it first like had the countdown and everything on the crypto.org of when it would launch. And so I went into my app pretty much right away, right as the countdown ended, and I didn't see an option for to change from ERC20 to CRO, or I didn't really like the end. When I tried, I was like, okay, well maybe it's automatic, but then I looked at the confirmation page and it still said 200 CRO, and I was like, well, in the AMA, Chris Marzalek said it'd be 0.001, so I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'm not gonna do it because I think it's still on ERC20 because of how high the fee is still. And because it didn't come out right away, it caused some people to not look at their like confirmation page, and they're just like paying the 200 CRO fee right away, like instantly going for it. And then obviously now I think most of them probably did the DeFi wallet migration, but then that costed Ethereum for that. Which this one YouTuber actually did. They didn't have the option to choose between the two, so they thought you had to send ERC20 CRO to the DeFi wallet and then do that migration, which was like $70 to $100 worth in total. And when you could basically do it for free instead. So my main question was like, did you get the option to choose between the two chains from the app to the DeFi wallet like pretty fast, like the first time you updated the app when they said it, or like did it take some time? Because some people said that they still didn't have the option even like days after, like on their iPhone, but I have an Android, so I'm not sure if it has to do with that.
Of course. Yeah, well, I mean, I've got an iPhone. I'm here in the UK. I don't know if this may have been sort of region specific at all, but for me, yeah, I had no issues. I literally had the option to swap to the crypto.org chain right away. And I mean, yeah, I literally had no issues. I sent my funds over. The first time I sent funds, it probably took maybe about 12 hours to arrive. So I just waited that out, but they eventually arrived.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was no issue for me, but I was getting a lot of comments after I posted a video about that from a lot of people. There must have been at least over a dozen people, I would say, possibly more, that weren't, that basically just didn't have that option. So I was trying to sort of look into it and see, because I wasn't having the options. I don't know if it was, to do with the phone or the region necessarily, or what was going on there. But I think for maybe just a message for people, in this sort of scenario, again, just take a deep breath, and if you just check everything, and also maybe just do a test. I always encourage just the basics thing, before you send a big amount over. So if people in this case were going to send CRO over on ERC20, thinking they were sending it on crypto.org, at least you'd send over a small amount, the minimum amount. So like, then if you had to have been hit with that, with a big Ethereum fee, you'd know, and you could just take that smaller loss and then just send the bigger amount when the crypto.org chain was, properly up and running. You had that option to swap it from ERC20 to crypto.org. So I think for a lot of people, they could have avoided that, but they just, people just get too hasty and they don't check things and they don't test things the first time. Whenever I'm sending something, it doesn't matter where it goes, to a new wallet or how sure I am, I always just do a test to make sure that, I've just done everything properly just for the first time I ever do send it. So I think that's important for people to remember.
Yeah, that was like one of the things that I was saying, because like there was this one person, I don't know if it was on my YouTube or like on one of the crypto.com like Discord or something, or like one of their social medias, but someone was like getting really mad that the like CRO launch or whatever to go, click on CRO, it didn't come out like right away, like right as the countdown ended, and they said they instantly sent like 100,000 CRO and everything, and I'm like, well, if you're sending that much, like you think you would look at the confirmation page and everything to make sure that you're like doing the like correct things. I'm like, especially when you send it to a non-custodial wallet, like you definitely want to make sure that you're doing everything correctly. So I'm like, I don't know how mad you can be at crypto.com for that, but yeah.
You just got it. Yeah, exactly. Totally right.
And so you said, I was actually going to ask you this earlier, but you already said you're from the UK, so or at least you live in the UK right now, right? So
that's correct.
How did the GBP wallet? I always say that wrong, GBP or whatever, like your currency. So a lot of people actually on Twitter and some other places, I don't know whether if they were impatient or if they were rightfully so impatient or whatnot, because a lot of them were talking about the fiat wallet not coming back until like, I think it was like March 31st or April 1st. It like came back or something.
Yeah, do you know what? For me personally, that's never been an issue, because when I started getting into crypto, I bought for the first time in 2017 through Coinbase, and I set up my sort of fiat on and off ramp through my bank through Coinbase. So if I'm ever sort of taking money out, which I try to do, as little as I possibly can, but I will send sort of Litecoin to Coinbase and then take that and withdraw from Coinbase and sell the crypto on my Litecoin for GBP, Great British Pounds, and then I'll withdraw that into my bank if I have to. So I haven't actually set it up on my crypto.com, but I think I may have had a look at it at one point, and it's saying that it was just unavailable, which I don't know. I haven't looked into that in too much detail, but that's another one of these ones where I get regular people commenting and saying that, what's going on with the GBP wallet? Why can't we sort of withdraw into our banks? Then that leads people to saying things like, crypto.com is a scam, and they get on this whole tangent, and it's not as simple as that. So I suppose, I'm not sure, but I do also wonder why it does seem a little odd that it's not something that could have been addressed perhaps sooner, considering, UK is quite a big region. I'm not sure,
Well, it sounds like it didn't really affect you personally that much then. So that's
no. And I guess anybody, I guess another message for your viewers watching this as well, just if you it's not hard, just set up another exchange,
Oh yeah.
crypto, you're allowed to withdraw crypto
Yeah.
from crypto. You don't have to withdraw, you don't have to sell and withdraw from crypto.com to your bank. You can just send it to any other app, which there are many of, which you can
Yeah.
connect that app to your currency, your bank to your currency, and you can just withdraw that way. So it's like, just there are ways to get around it. Like
That's so interesting. Now that you say that, I'm like, wait a minute, that's so true. Why don't people just do that?
it's a simple process. It doesn't cost
Yeah.
anything extra. It might take a tiny bit more time just to set up this off ramp.
Yeah.
But just do it through Coinbase or something. Like,
Yeah,
the fees are pretty good.
Yeah. It's always good to have a bunch of different ways to be able to withdraw your crypto, or into fiat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So,
All right.
just get the card and spend on the card.
Yeah, that too. that too. Yeah.
You need money.
Just top it up to your card. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
And you can always go to an ATM too with that.
Exactly. There's a lot of options. So that's interesting. Yeah.
All right. So now to on-chain staking, because I know I saw you do that, and you actually put a lot more on chain for staking of CRO. So you might have some better answers than like I would about all this. So my first question was like, what do you think about the 28-day like unbonding period for it? How do you think it will affect CRO in any way or anything like that? Or people's perspective?
Yeah, look, to be completely honest, I'm not bothered by it. I haven't looked into much detail as to why it's necessary, but I suppose there's just, I don't know if it would be called like a cooling off period. They need that time to, I don't know, maybe get the money out of the pool, out from that delegation pool and back into your wallet, or what the go is there. And I guess 28 days of no interest is quite a while, and quite a bit of time to not have access to your funds. So I get that is in itself, if you look at that, it's a little bit annoying, but I don't see it that way. All I'm really seeing is, I'm seeing bullish fundamentals and now even technicals for the CRO token.
Yeah.
I saw as soon as because I didn't know about this, this 20% AP sort of per annum for the CRO on the DeFi wallet until not that long ago. They kind of just dropped news like that in an instant. Crypto.com, and I actually sold out of my position at about a break even. I had a big amount of CRO because I felt I was just too exposed to CRO. I just felt I had a bit too much exposure, and the interest wasn't great. 10%, for CRO. I just thought, it wasn't great. It wasn't enough for me. You can get a bit more yield farming and doing other things, but then when they announced the 20% per annum, I thought, hang on a minute. And then there was the transparency with the with the burn model and the supply, and everything was just becoming a bit more clear, I suppose, for this year. And I thought, hang on. And then obviously we've got the impeding, crypto bull run, which I think, pretty much hasn't really even probably started yet, I feel. And I think with all of that considered, I just thought, hang on a minute, I'm gonna buy a load of CRO back.
Yeah.
So I instantly bought. I bought as much CRO as I possibly could. And I just put it straight onto the DeFi wallet when I was ready. And, for me, it's like, I don't plan to touch that. I'm going to compound that and leave that for as long as the rate's going to be there. I think it's like a 5 billion supply that they're allowing for the on-chain. And, I don't know if they can give an exact time of how long it's going to last, but I can tell you right now, it's the CRO token is a long game for me personally. And, that's just my strategy. I'm leaving it in there for hopefully over a year or possibly more. So it's like, 28 days, no interest when I take it out, fine. But like the profits I've already been making have been substantial and have been good. And I guess that's what I'm focusing on more rather than it's like, okay, if you don't like the 28-day unbonding, don't stake. Put your money somewhere else. There's so many areas where you can stake crypto these days. If you don't like it, fine.
Yeah.
But, state your opinion or whatever, but don't carry on about it for too long, because it's like, there's other places you can stake your money, I guess. But
So with the 28-day unbonding period, so like one question that that's kind of like related to debit cards with on-chain staking as well. What do you find like least risky? Like not necessarily in like a security aspect, because I mean obviously non-custodial wallets are like have way better security, but for like price movements, because like for the debit card, after 6 months, like, yeah, it's locked for 6 months, but after that, you can unstake any day you want and like automatically have access to it. So if like the price all of a sudden like something comes out to where the price is going to start tanking and you're like, oh, I better get out right now, like right here, right now. While on-chain
Yes.
staking, it's like, well, if something bad comes out, it's like, well, if you click on stake, you still have to wait 28 days. So,
Yes.
but it's, so I don't know, like I don't know about
Of
like,
course.
what you find least risky on that.
Look, again,
for least risky of like putting your CRO in, like whether it's like locking your CRO up for 6 months and then being able to unlock it whenever you want, or like have a 20-day unbonding period.
In terms of the accessibility, so are you talking like maybe in terms of say like the Jade Green Indigo and Icy White and above getting the interest per
that
what is it, 10%?
10%, and then and then
that
the
12%. Sure, because obviously after the 6 months, it's like, if you hear some news, you can. So I guess you're losing potentially. Well, you're taking less percent, but you're having that well, I guess security of knowing that you can just you can sell the tokens. Yeah, look, I think that again with this, there's no right or wrong. For me personally, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm taking the interest rate when it's there, and again, it's because I'm in CRO for the long term.
Yeah,
I'm not too like the same with Bitcoin. I'm not. If CRO drops to 15 cents, I'm not bothered. Yes, my portfolio value goes down, but I'm not planning on taking it out. Yes, perhaps I could have, perhaps I could have sold at 20 cents and rebought in at 15. But I mean, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done to just do this. And I use automated trading bots to do that kind of regular short-term trading and taking profits, because for me it's just too much stress doing it manually that way. And I know from people that are experienced traders in foreign exchange, cryptocurrency, and it's not easy. It's like a full-time job doing this thing. They still never get it 100% right.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I just can't handle that level of manual stress. So it's like I'm prepared to just wait it out. If I'm sitting in a 28-day unbonding and some bearish news comes out, then whatever, that's it. I've made the decision to do that, and I'll personally just take my chances and hold. Just like I did, and probably just like you did as well, and probably a lot of people did with the bearish news that kind of came up last year. I had my CRO. Me and Karina both had our CRO. I had about 70,000 CRO getting the 20% exchange staking, right? Which is great. You get paid out into your available balance every day. But then we had all this bearish news and the price dumped, and we were thinking, God, this decision, why did we lock it up? We've still got like another 3 months to go, and the price is just going down and down and down. I was like, oh, God, maybe I shouldn't have picked CRO. But, in the back of my mind, I never genuinely thought the project was going to fail. I thought they made a couple maybe interesting decisions, but at the end of the day, you can't please everyone. But I did always believe that the price was going to eventually return, and that's just what I accepted, and I was okay with that. So
that's pretty much exactly how I felt too, because I mean, I bought at 18 cents on September. I remember the day September 1st. I bought at 18 cents. It was literally like it was the top of CRO at that point in time, and I just went from like $3,000 to $18,000 trading like DeFi coins and everything in the summer of 2020. And then I decided, I'm gonna throw all my eggs into this one basket, CRO, and then it started tanking, and I couldn't do anything about it. And I was like, well, and then when I could unstake, it was around like 6 cents, and I was like, you know what? At this point, I think I'm just gonna keep holding, because, like you said, like in the back of your mind, like you never thought it was gonna fail. Like you always thought it was gonna be like a good project. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna keep holding. So that's what I did, and so far, I mean, it might be down in Satoshi value, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's sometimes it really just depends, like how you're looking at certain things, of whether you're trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, or as much like fiat, or like what exactly your goals are to do with the money you earn and everything. So it's very dependent on each person. So.
Exactly. And I think we both agree. We can both agree that we focus on the fundamentals of crypto.com as a business, and I think that at the end of the day is what's going to keep the price steady and strong. So I think that's the most important thing to consider, really.
So now about for the on-chain staking with DeFi wallet, so they made it to where you couldn't choose your own validator and have it automatically choose crypto.com validators. And it is stated on the crypto.com support page that choosing your own validator will be available on future releases on the DeFi wallet. But do you think it made sense or was like smart for them to have it start out to where it's just their validators for like people who are like migrating and starting to stake on chain in the beginning and everything? Because I mean, there's a lot of new people who are even migrating and everything who are new to crypto.com. So
yeah, of course. Do you know what? I think there's just thinking about this now, there's probably two things that come to mind when I think about that. The first thing is probably like, oh yeah, it's just typical crypto.com. It feels a bit, I don't know what the right word is, but it just feels a bit funny, it's kind of like, it's not just crypto.com. It's like any business, it's like Binance, you can say the same thing. It's going to have, they're going to have certain things that they want to do to sort of put their business first. And, at the end of the day, they got to keep their business afloat. They want to look after their own first. Yeah. Right. In a sense. Right. Yeah. So, and I don't think that's necessarily, I think a lot of people look at that decision and, say, oh, they're just, it's not fair. Is it really decentralized then? And all this kind of thing. So I get that, but at the same time, I've got the time for it because I think people, with that view that get upset, just need to take a big step back and just look at it, a bit more holistically. But I also think as well, the second point is that it's already hard enough for, going back to the point about mainstream adoption coming on, someone that's never even, or just heard the word crypto coming onto the app, like my mum, for example, messaging me, Earl, what's this DeFi wallet about? These kinds of people, they're going to be lucky if they can successfully get grow from the app to the DeFi wallet. Yeah. Like if they can go through that process successfully for the first time, then that's a win. But having to then choose a delegator on top of that, again, I don't think it's I think it's good if they eventually have that as an option, but I think that, the fewer steps, the better. I think for me, I was like, oh yeah, it automatically goes to a delegator. Fine, whatever. Like that's fine.
Yeah.
And then if the choice comes later on to choose, then that's good to give, delegators outside of crypto.com, I guess, an opportunity. But I also heard that a few of my subscribers were telling me to make a video about doing it on the desktop version, but I've just been doing it all through the mobile because apparently I think you may be able to choose your delegator on the desktop version, but I haven't looked into that myself. But
you definitely can. I just think it's a bit more complicated. So I just prefer to do the DeFi wallet, and since they already said it's going to be released like later on, I might as well just wait until that comes out.
Yeah, 100%.
I personally do plan on restaking with the non-crypto.com validator, especially if they're going to have lower fees, but I'm probably going to go for one with like around 5%, just because someone did mention on Reddit the people who are staking with 0%, like those nodes, if something goes wrong with their node or something and rewards aren't being paid out, they have less incentive to like go and fix it right away, or because they're not getting any money or anything anyways. So,
I see. That's a good point, actually. That's a good point.
So I'd probably go with like a 5% one and a non-crypto.com one. But as of right now, I totally agree with you. Like I think it's kind of good the way they did it in the beginning, and then add it eventually for people who do want to make it a bit more decentralized and everything.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're taking the steps in the right direction, I think. Yeah, for sure.
All right, so that's basically it for everything that I had to cover, and you guys will be able to find Satoshi Aoki. I think I always pronounce your last name wrong, but
that works. Yeah.
So I'll have your channel linked down in the description, so you guys can check out his channel and watch his content as well. And part 2 will also be over on his channel, so you guys can watch the rest of this interview as well over on his channel.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much for Kahoot for having me on the show as well on your channel. It's been a pleasure, and make sure you guys like this video. He's putting out some quality content, straight from the heart. It's always quite inspirational, informative, and it's rare to find people like this, I guess, on YouTube with some really good, valid, and sort of honorable opinions. So like and subscribe to his channel, guys, and hopefully we'll see you over on mine for a similar kind of interview on some other topics.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. All right, go check out the part 2 in the description as well. All right, see you guys in part 2.